Hello there, and welcome to this edition of Thought for the Week. It's good to be with you again. I'm always amazed that the Lord can make such great people out of very humble stock. There's so many examples of that in the Bible. And sometimes people can't quite believe that God can use them in the wonderful way he intends. I think of a particular guy in the Hebrew scriptures called Gideon. When we meet him in the Bible, he's hiding down in a pit in the ground, a wine press indeed. But he's beating out wheat. Why on earth would he be doing that, caked from head to foot in chaff, as he's trying to beat out some grain to take home to his wife to make bread? Well, he's doing it because he's so petrified. Midianites, terrorists, had entered the land and they were creating havoc among the people, and he was terrified for his life. But the amazing thing is, as we meet him, an angel suddenly appears to him and says to him, "The Lord is with you, mighty man of valor." Well, it's like a joke. And poor Gideon thinks it is a joke. "How can you be talking about me?" he says. "I'm the weakest member of my family. And my family, they're the weakest members of the clan." But God hadn't made a mistake. He'd sent his angel to the right man, because the Lord looks at Gideon in terms of his potential. And that's how he looks at you and me. If we love the Lord has a plan and purpose for our lives, and he sees us in terms of that great potential. Isn't that encouraging? Isn't it wonderful? You can scarcely believe it, but it's true. And as we cooperate with the Lord and allow him to change us and to give us his priorities, the change takes effect, and we begin to move in the purpose of God at a level we would never have thought possible. Another good example of that is King David. I say King David because that's what he became. But we're introduced to him in the scriptures when he was a humble shepherd boy, the youngest member of Jesse's family, out in the wilderness looking after his father's sheep. Shepherding was a despised profession in those days, and yet that's what David was doing, the lowliest of all jobs. And yet principles learned shepherding sheep would stand him in good stead all his life, even when he was leading the nation of Israel to victory after victory. It's remarkable, isn't it? The Lord can make us so different from where we are if we allow him to. And we've been looking at an amazing psalm written by David the shepherd. He's writing about his care for sheep and likening it to God's care for his people. And one of the statements he makes is this: "You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." Now, what does he mean by the cup? Because you don't normally associate sheep with drinking from a cup, do you? Well, of course not. But the cup he's referring to is a shallow depression in the bottom of a dried up riverbed. We've just got back from Israel, and the wilderness of Judea is filled with ravines. And the bottom of those ravines is very dry dust. And when you get flash floods, rain falling on Jerusalem and cascading down these dried up riverbeds, they become torrents of water, skimming over the dusty floor of the wadi. But when the water has passed by, a lot of it is retained in small cups in the bottom of the wadi. And those are the cups that David refers to when he says, "My cup is overflowing." After the violence of the flood, the water remains in the cups, and the shepherd can safely lead his sheep to drink from that water. That's a wonderful encouragement, isn't it? That the Lord knows precisely when and how we can drink safely in order to restore us when we need to be restored and encouraged. Well, I pray the Lord will bless you this week And I look forward to talking to you next time. Bye for now.